For that, I've said, represents who they are, and that through the work that we do, we have I would say it's a very rewarding work that we do, in the sense that we get to play the role of changing that house that Deputy Chair referred to, where somebody came into your house and then took it away and gave it another name, and then hands it back in 1994 and say, okay, fine, now you need to go and consult and renegotiate to be able to change it. So we play a pivotal role in that process. What do we do as the Legislative Review Subcommittee? Thank you to Mr. Kamata, who was just here before me. He gave a wonderful organogram for all those that are here, that we've come to capacitate in terms of the awareness. That organogram gives you a wonderful overview of how everyone fits into the structure. And I'm hoping that that organogram will be shared with the PGNC and members of the community and NGOs that are here. So what do we do as the Legislative Review? As Chair, Deputy Chair has mentioned earlier, there's inward committees and there are outward committees. So our work is generally inward, in the sense that we look at policies, we look at frameworks, we look at the legislation. And we look at, in terms of compliance, we do look at everything else that all the other committees work on. So all of what they do gets fed into our agenda. We do not just rubber stamp anything, I can assure you that. I've got a committee, and I would like to just, our subcommittee, I would like to just make members who are here aware of who the subcommittee members are. And I'm doing so for one reason, that the act that you will still get to hear about in a few minutes from me will be going through the draft amendment bill, which will probably be the 6th draft amendment bill, will be going through a public consultation process at some stage, and you would need to know who these members are, because they will be coming back to this province and to other provinces together with legal services. Not all of them, some of them. So I would like to start with my very able colleague, Ms. Nkabisa Nongogo. She's from Gqeberha. Thank you so much. Then secondly, I have to my right, of course, you all know Deputy Chair, Mr. Johnny Mushlala. And then I have our newest member, and yes, the light is so blinding, but I know that you're sitting over there, Mr. Christian Martin from Gqeberha as well. Who else? David Friedman as well, from the very rich city town, as said by our chair, Mr. David Friedman. I think that makes up our full committee, our full subcommittee. So what do we do? Since the new council has been in place, we've been sitting with the new pieces of the piece of legislation. What you need to know is that we look at the current act, and then we look at what the procedure is for bringing names from the public through the PGNCs through to council for recommendation to the minister. And then we look at the act and see where is there a disconnect, or where are the omissions and where are the gaps, and where can we improve on the existing act, which, as was said earlier by our chair, is an act which was promulgated and passed in 1998. That was just 4 years after democracy. So now that we're looking at the 6th draft amendment bill, substantial changes will be introduced. More particularly, that which was raised by Mr. Langeveld earlier, is the objective tribunal appointed by the minister. So if, for example, the recommendation from this council goes to the minister to recommend a name, then our work is over as an advisory body, as the SAGNC. If there is anyone, after the minister then gazettes that name, is unhappy with the name for whatever reason, call it an appeal, call it an objection, call it what you like, but it's after the process having gone through us as the advisory council and having sent our recommendation to the minister. Once that happens and the name is gazetted by the minister, the only avenue that an objector, an appellant has is one, to follow through the appeals process to that tribunal. Now remember, the current act does not make provision for such a tribunal. So in terms of the new legislation, that would be the objective body. And you're going to hear a lot about the 6th draft amendment bill when legal services brings it to the provinces. So what legal services has told us is that we need to get a resolution out by this council. This council has already passed the resolution in February this year, approving of the 5th draft amendment bill. But again, when the committee sat and looked at the 5th draft and we realized that certain additional changes had to be made, we're now looking at a 6th draft. So legal services has told us we've done it the best of what we could with the legislation. Let's just move on with it now. And I think we are at that process. The 6th draft will be presented to the council over the next 2 days. From there, once that final resolution is signed off, it will then be elevated to legal services, who will then take that amendment or draft amendment bill to the various provinces. And that is where it's going to come back to you to look at. So I'm please urging everyone to please look at the Act and bear in mind that legal services, with the help of some of the subcommittee members, will be coming back so that you can make your further input. But we've tried our best to give you a 6th draft amendment bill which speaks to exactly the processes that PGNCs are involved in. Furthermore, the Act, as you see, will note, is silent about the objects of the PGNCs and the functions and the term. So we've now aligned it in terms of lengthening the term of council members and ensuring that the PGNC's term is in sync with that of council members, so that one ties that up. There are lots of other little bits which I don't think I'm going to bother you down with now. You're going to have an ample time to come back when those public consultations take place. What else do we do? I suppose after this legislation is done, we've always got work to do. There's policies that we look at. It's our job to look at the policies of each of the subcommittees to ensure that it meets constitutional muster. So that's the important thing. We also then look at frameworks. As names come through the PGNCs, to the committees, to the subcommittees, to the council, I can assure you that our subcommittee looks at the names and then we apply our mind to it, mindful of potential litigation that might come our way. So we are mindful of past court cases and we are aimed at ensuring that we court cases and litigation as down as possible. Lots has been said about public consultations at PGNC's level. There are countless case laws where judges have thrown out processes purely based on public consultations. So this time we are ensuring that the PGNCs ensure that the public consultations process flows through so that one can avoid and reduce litigation and costs and delays in respect thereof. And to end, yes, I think much needs to be said about changing the mindset of people. And those NGOs that are here and the Free State, congratulations PGNC for the Free State. It's absolutely wonderful to have you aboard and to have Ms. Sheila Taladi finally represented in council. But we rely on you to change the mindsets of people. Apostle has left. I'm not sure if he's still here. He has a radio station. So there he has a wide reach, I would take it, where he can reach out to community members to make them aware of about the town, the dorpie, the river, the mountain, the settlement, and educating them and ensuring that the names come through. And in that way, hopefully, we begin to change the mindset. And when we change the mindset, we get to be proud of who we are, where we come from, and lastly, hopefully that will build social cohesion and a much needed nation building. That's it from the committee. Apart from saying that we do have one more person on our committee, not a council member, Legal Services has ensured that Mr. Benedict Mokobedi sits in our subcommittees, and it's absolutely wonderful having him there, because we've got him there right besides us, giving us the inside story about how the process will unfold from here. But thank you for listening to me, and I hope that you will enjoy the lunch that's been prepared. Nothing further from me, Chair, except to hand over back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I need to confirm a few things with my boss. Also, there's something that I have missed before all the thank yous. We made earlier some of the great accomplishments of our council members with Councillor Parker going to assume an acting judge position at the High Court at the Western Cape. But the one outstanding information, you know, when you don't have critical information in our forms, we send it back. So you must always have an advantage and an edge in how your research was done. So Mesipati Dichave is our council member who also comes from this province. We earlier announced that she'll be receiving an honorary doctorate in September, but it's from the United States of America, not here, Free States. It is from Atlanta, Georgia, coming through the United Nations Women in Community Development. And it really touched me in you know, that for all these years and the work that women do, they get to be honored also all around the world because South Africa matters, and that we must know as we continue with all the transformation and other mandates that we carry, and what the Constitution that we wrote for ourselves prescribes us to honor. Let us do good. Let us continue being part of this agenda. I'm going to thank Charity again. I don't think I would have done this work. It's really been a long day. I normally see practitioners like yourself shifting tomorrow, okay, but having a one woman standing the whole day, they normally say one man standing. This woman stood for us the entire day. We thank you, we appreciate you, and also the service was great. Thank you. Boss Tuli, is there anything else I've left for today? Yes. Yes, they are brand new. I thought it would be a meet and greet and just a high level highlighting of plans. Kindly come over, Chairperson. There's, okay. Chairperson is standing between us and lunch. Now, how can your own host take away your own lunch? But we would like to hear from the host province in terms of the status currently, because it's been, your absence in council really was giving us a headache in a true sense, but we were very concerned. Over to you.
No, thank you very much, Chair. Let me acknowledge all dignitaries in here and say I'm very grateful to be given this opportunity to present our status report. We heard it on stick there. It looks like we've got some challenges, but I'm gonna just read it from here. Thank you. The Free State PGNC was appointed, it's a newly appointed committee, which was appointed the Honorable MEC Mahase, and we have got 10 members in the committee, which is, of course, chaired by myself, and then we have got a deputy chair who is seated at the back there, Mayor Queen Magalaganka. You know, the surname in most cases wants to cut my tongue. It's very, very difficult. And then I will just mention those members that are here now because some of them did not make it here. We have got at the far right there, Mayor Mposefo, who is a member of the committee. Luckily, we are also very mindful of the legality of the whole process. That's why we've got the advocate, Messi Fomonu, to help us with the legality of the whole thing. Thank you, Mayor. Okay, it looks like my problem is solved. We have got also next to him Tatemo Disenyana. You know, education also plays a very important part in this thing. That's why we've got a teacher or an educator who is also helping us on that regard. We have got here Ma'am Mvambi, who is also a member of the committee. Can you stand up, Ma'am? We have got also Mesinto. I'm not sure where she's seated. Oh, there she's at the back there. Why do you hide yourself, ma'am? Oh, she's getting cold. She wants to be next to the heater there. Chairperson here mentioned that out of the 10 that were appointed by the MEC, Memahasa, we unfortunately lost one. One of us passed on last week, Thursday, and was buried yesterday. And we could not make it to the funeral because of this preparation, but the committee is planning to sort of pay a visit there this coming weekend, just to go and give our condolences. Oh, it looks like I've got a problem. Okay, let me leave this thing. It just got a lot of problems. It's gonna. Now, I would definitely request this August House to just maybe stand up and beat, moment of silence for the past. Tate Msweli. Tate Msweli was buried yesterday. Hamoya wanted Tate Msweli orobale ka khotso ra leboha. So that is the status in terms of our members here that have been appointed, and we hopefully going to get a replacement very soon, and that as soon as the MEC has made up her mind as to whom to put into the committee. Yeah, it has been said that the Free State we have been very slow in terms of taking up our mandate, but let us make it clear that it is because you remember that the PGNC's its term of office is only 3 years, and after every 3 years you must be have the new committee. So the new committee took long before it could be appointed. And when it was appointed, we only had our first meeting in October. And in that meeting, we then decided that even though we waited for this kind of engagement with the SANGC, we would want to be empowered. So we organized or hosted our own workshop in terms of empowering our new members. Luckily, in the past term, I was still the chair, and I was given the second term. Halala, Matsabi, halala. I was given the second term so that I should still lead this committee. So we were able to, sort of workshop ourselves and plan our own program as to how we're going to unfold it. Let me confirm to this August House that in that workshop we identified that one of our main hiccups in the province is that we don't have people who has got the know as to what is expected from the communities so that we can facilitate the name changes. So we therefore then decided in that workshop that we are going to have a program to visit all the regions and the sub-regions in our province, so that we engage with speakers, we engage with the chairpersons of the Section 79 committees, so that we capacitate them as to what is expected from them. And then at the same time, we go to the communities and also carry on this campaign of, empowering them to know what is expected. Like the chair has already said that we are not changing names, or we not naming the features. We need to get a proposal from the communities, and then we process that. So if our people don't know that, we would sit and wait for proposals, they would never come. So that is why it was important for us to have that program of visiting the sub-regions and regions. And we have already gone to Malutia Pofu, where we were going to start negotiating with the speaker and the council there that we want to come and capacitate them. We also talked to the chairperson of Salga, not the chairperson, the president of Salga, Date Beki Stofile. he is aware of this mission that we want to meet with the speakers and the chairpersons of the Section 79 committees. Because what we also realized, let me make an example. In the municipality of Machabeng, they had this committee, naming and renaming committee. But it was wrongly situated because it was headed by the MMC, one of the MMCs in the mayor's office. And in terms of the nature of the committee, is a Section 79 committee which is supposed to be headed by the speakers. So the formation of that committee there, it was wrong. So they had to locate it into the speaker's office so that it can then be headed by any other councillor that is appointed by council who is not an MMC. So those are the kind of educations that we need to go to the municipalities and teach them. In terms of what we have now on the table, Chair, as the PGNC, we are already having proposals for some features to be named, and we have already done some, which we still need maybe to report. We have, like in Van Stadensres, we went there, we named a new library there, which is named under the name Jan Lebese. We did that in a month ago, I think. And then we have got the one in Soutpan, still in Mangaung, which is named under Sebotela, yes. And then we have got the one that we are still busy with, changing the name of Glen, which we are still in the process of public engagement and so on. And luckily, in as far as I can remember, Chair, we as the Free State, we have never had a case where we were found to have flawed the processes, and as a result, the name had to be rejected because of our own mistake of flooring the processes. So it looks like in that instance we are very good. We are also in Bethlehem having a proposal to name R26 into it's just that I don't have my records now. It's in here, but we have got that proposal and we are busy with that proposal. We are also having a proposal to rename the Global Park Stadium from Global Park to Mike Mokwena, which we are still busy with. So there is movement in this committee or in this province in terms of that, and the relationship with other departments here. I think we've got a very sound relationship, especially with our MEC. We've got a free communication line with the MEC in terms of making sure that this committee moves. For instance, the PGNCs, they don't have enough budget to can carry on everything. You can imagine if you've got in one financial year you've got a budget of about $1 million, and you've got to do all these jobs that you need to do. Is very little, that amount. So we are in engagement with the MEC in terms of trying to see if she can better that. The PRA in the Free State here. That is why you see the chairperson of PRA here. That shows the relation between, because if we did not invite her, she wouldn't be here. So the fact that we invited her, it shows that we have got that relation. And that relation is very important because, remember, they are preserving and we are changing the site. So we need to have a good understanding between the two committees as to when we want to change a name, they must also give us some view on their side that, no, you see, in terms of heritage, if you change this, this is what is going to happen. I remember we are having a proposal on the table also that says we must change in Charlotte Maclake Street, Hoffman Square, in Charlotte Maclake Street to Charlotte Maclake Square, because it's in Charlotte Maclake Street. So we are also going to engage with them to see if the possibility of doing that and what will be the harm and so on and so on. I remember that the deputy chair was also saying repetition of names and so on, but we were taking it from the fact that it's influenced by the fact that that square is in Charlotte Maclake, so it wouldn't make a lot of a difference if you rename it there. Chair, you can see that I'm trying to take this report from the head, and I hope that I did not fail you. You heard what you wanted to hear. And let me tell you, we have got a very energetic PGNC in the Free State, and we hope with the program that we've got, you are going to start seeing a lot of names and name changing coming into your office for you to finalize. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my chair, and really we do have a partnership indeed with province, and are delighted to have been appraised of this progress. Say is, as you promise all of these things, we jot them down, and we are going to remind you of your Bethlehems and all these R26 and others. If Makufe was still here, I was going to come in October and demand a report on my own. But,
Chair.
Yes.
Please, Chair, let me correct this thing. In this province, we've got traditional leaders. And you see, when you fail a traditional leader, you are fined a cow. I don't have a cow. I just forgot to introduce one of the committee members, Ntate Qetshwayo Mloi, who is the chief representing the traditional leaders. Morena, hi Shapefats. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
What damage is that? Because we can't even, what is that thing? When you lassen kazat for your cow, when you are fined, I don't know where we were going to get that. I also apologize, Morena, on his behalf. It cannot be that it was not intentional. It's these bright lights, they confuse us. On that note, I normally say that I'm a chairperson of the PACOFS in the Eastern Cape, which is the Nelson Mandela Bay Complex. So when Minister Zizi Kodwa came on board as the new minister, the CEO, he is also Zizi. So I could see that, hey, CEO likes relatives, because he started coming through now more with this name of wanting, he's always been called Zizi, but it became prominent in meetings now. I said, colleagues, I don't want people to be calling each other Zizi in meetings, because it's official. I want the true name of the person. And then it felt like I was taking away the grace of being a relative to minister. I said, no, let's proceed. But it's my right here. I also found a relative with the introductions. And that Modisinyane, as I said earlier, my grandmother is married into your family. Nana Kadi, she was married and passed on, and she's still part of your family. The house is 3 houses away from the stadium and 3 houses away from the Lyceas in Mushweshwe Street. So that is where I normally visit. So when you are my uncle, Pell. And that is how I'm going to get reports. Yes, these things must find a way of working and out for the best. It's good nepotism, I guess. Yes, it will work for us. And when we are in family meetings, you can start whispering about what is not happening, and then one will come back. So I must say, as I close the session, which is day one today, it has really been a great pleasure for us to be hosted by Free State. It's been a long-standing engagement. We have been waiting upon it. We've been crying, overly concerned. We've also created a Mpimpi hotline towards our administration that Mr. Langeveld, please tell Minister, Free State is not coming on board. Tell them about Northwest, tell them about Northern Cape. And because we work well with our administration, they found a way of channeling the message, and as a result, responses were coming positively. It is not in a bad way. It is because we all have a heart, we all have an obligation of honoring our constitution, of honoring South Africans, but of also continuing with the laws of this country. If there's an act to safeguard what we do here, then why should we sit in our laurels and not even be able to move and not plant or be seen as doing any work? I also want to thank Deputy Chair that I have put you on duty today. Quite a lot, and also thank you for the support as always, because you've been around and you have worked way before. I think you have a 15-year tenure in these committees. So you can draw institutional memory, you can remind everyone of where we come from, and it is really a critical and a valuable input that you always bring to all the departments, officials that are here, to our councillors, to also our BBC, CNN, Sky News, and SABC, my fellows, and our online media. We say thank you to the service provider. Charity, for the third time, I feel obligated all the time to thank you. To our local municipality leaders, and also to our traditional leaders in particular. We do not take this for granted because, you know, Siholwa Nini, you are our leaders. You were here before all these legislations. You had your own way of doing things. And we still keep that in mind, and we still rely on that, that people belong to their leaders. All we do is to come and record and make sure that we are right behind you as you leaders in your respective lands and communities. I have not left anything else. I think we said the prayers also through the anthem for the food we are about to receive. In that note, thank you. And tomorrow we are going to reconvene as the PGNC, and now we'll proceed with our formal proceedings of council now, full council business, starting from minutes and all the other requirements and agenda items. Hopefully in the future we'll also see young people here engaging and asking questions so that we can plant the seed. Thank you very much. Enjoy your day. Thank you.
Thank you.